Hey, good morning, everybody. This is Henry Ferguson with Viewpoint Construction Software. Excited today to welcome you and have you join us for a 30 to 40-minute webinar and discussion about what is a CRM and how does it bring ROI and what the heck do those six letters even mean, you might be asking. I've been at Viewpoint for this month was 13 years, and my position is Director of Strategic Partnerships. It's my job to work with our 10 strategic partners and try and help our customers understand why this select group of companies provide functionality that Viewpoint doesn't provide, never will provide, and how it's helpful to our customers to reduce risk, improve efficiencies, basically make more money. And the notion of CRM or client relationship management is something that our customers do in a variety of ways. My perception, having interviewed dozens and dozens of them, is it's ranging from super sophisticated, thoughtful processes for bidding work, marketing work, representing themselves in the marketplace, to very informal processes, spreadsheets, Outlook, individual business development reps having their own private contact list that leave when they leave the company. And so it's a pleasure to introduce Dan Cornish, who's the founder and CEO of Cosential. They're our partner for client relationship management integration with Vista. They're our construction-specific solution Dan's been working on for 18 years, nothing but trying to help construction firms be able to market themselves, their expertise, their projects, bid more work, find more work, nurture more work, build a pipeline, close a pipeline. So Dan, with that introduction, and by the way, we have a couple of hundred joint customers with Cosential. We have an integration with Vista. Dan will touch on some of that. But this is mostly about really trying to understand what the value is. Why Cosential and not Salesforce or spreadsheets or any of the other things that our customers try and use that don't really bend around a corner and accommodate their needs as construction enterprises. So with that introduction, Dan, take it away.
Thank you, Henry. Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for that wonderful introduction. We're very excited and very enthusiastic about our relationship and our partnership with Viewpoint. We've worked very hard with them to build what we consider to be a best-of-class integration and a really great team to work with. Today, what I'm going to talk about are a couple of questions. And these really sort of are the core and basis of really what you have to ask yourself before you move down this road. First of all, what is a CRM system? Really, what is it? What's in it for me? WIIFM. And then third, show me the ROI. So I've heard this term CRM, so that's a good thing. But a lot of people haven't even heard the term or even known about it. So a lot of folks in the construction industry are just now starting to understand what a CRM system is, or they've heard about it and want to learn more. Now, what's in it for me is really, we're going to talk about the buckets of finance, marketing, administration, business development, sales, and project management. We're going to take a look at a few of your roles and point out the day-to-day benefits a CRM brings to the role. And if you don't have a CRM or have one but have not brought it in well or haven't integrated it well or even implemented it well, we'll show you what it takes to set it up, to implement it, to get it on board. And then ultimately, once it starts to happen, you'll really start to see the light and it will really become a critical part of your business. And then finally, after you've done all of that hard work, what's the ROI? And we're going to look from a 10,000-foot view and explore the core ways that a CRM delivers on an investment, from both increase in productivity, security, and even the ability to help you win more business and increase your hit rate. And I always love to tell people that if you increase your hit rate on competitive opportunities, the ROI is crazy. And having a system like Cosential helps you win a couple of jobs that you might not have won. The ROI is just amazing. All right, with that said, we're going to talk about what's a CRM system and really how to define it and how it's different than other software that you're using. So a CRM, the acronym is really customer relationship management. But what it does is it's a software tool that allows you to create, develop, and measure both the metrics of revenue, but most importantly, your relationships. All of the people, both your potential customers and current customers, track all of the different touch points that those relationships have. Because as we all know, in the construction industry, it's a relationship business. One of the most valuable assets that you have is your contact list. And yet it's one of the things that most firms take the least care of. It's sort of like what I have on my phone or what I have on my Outlook. But by using a CRM system, you can start to get a much, much larger lever. The basic elevator pitch for a CRM is that it's a software system businesses use to document the existence of prospects, customers, and house anything and all of the documents, communications, all of the metrics around them. It's a single source of truth for a business to measure revenue pipeline and map those relationships. Customers are the backbone of our business, and without them, the whole thing falls apart. So this is what really the problem that we're trying to solve. And what's interesting is right now is the time where construction firms are catching on to the concept of using more and more and more technology. And a CRM is one of the three core silos of data. There's winning the jobs, there's managing the jobs, and then there's tracking all of the costs and all of that. Systems like Viewpoint do those two things, and then Cosential does the first silo, but through our integration, it connects all of them, and we eliminate the silos completely. So for a construction firm, it's much more than a customer. It's all about how you do business with these people. It really it allows you to store the tribal knowledge of your firm's relationships around your customers and clients. So client company is really much more than just customer. It's really those relationships and all of that. And having a common source of truth for contact information, lead and opportunity pipeline management, and to streamline marketing efforts such as accessing historical project reference and proposals, or easily organizing campaigns and email and all sorts of outreach that you might do. So that's really what the client piece is. Now, let's talk about what a generic CRM really is. So a generic, and what you've heard in these days is that really a typical CRM system is all about selling products or widgets, or a generic platform that then you can customize. There's sales teams tracking their leads, goals, and opportunities. Account managers are delivering the services and products rendered once the sale's done. And, then it's passed from sales to operations. And then a CRM system really just tracks that one bit of getting the information, getting the sale done, and then handing it off. In any business, a CRM is the heart of the communications between departments and the source of truth for details and everything from who owns the accounts, what was sold at what price, the central hub for documents of all kinds, operational oversight, ensuing permissions appropriate throughout the organization. So that's really what a generic CRM system is. Construction CRM is different, because what we do is not only do we connect what a generic CRM system is, we tie into the finance system, which is very much into Viewpoint, to then allow finance to see what's coming down from sales in the pre-construction stage, and then the ability to then pass data back and forth. Also, you'll notice there's projects and personnel, because at the end of the day, what you sell are your people's experience on projects. And that's critically important. What types of projects you've done, what type of products you've sold to them, what people have done on it, what services you provided. It's critically important to have all of those relationships. Now, there's a big difference between a generic platform and a vertical platform built specifically for your business. It's really critical to then organize that information and then have data connectors to go back and forth. Now, a CRM system is a formula for success. I love this quote. If you cannot measure it, you cannot improve it. So the really good part about having a CRM is really the third stage. And really what happens is to make more money, you have to improve your sales process. To improve your sales process, you have to measure it. And to measure a process, you have to collect data. It's the collecting data part where sometimes a CRM system will fail because people can't get past that part. So what's important is to look in a system to make sure it's very, very easy to collect the data, either from your staff and personnel or from other systems. Because then my beautiful little formula, data times process raised to the power of analytics over time equals money. And this cycle of data keeps recycling the data back into the sales process. And that's a real key difference between what we would consider a generic CRM platform and a vertically based platform that does CRM just for construction. The CRM system should work like you do. It should be built around the concept of a project. And that's critical and key. How can I be assured to have the right CRM for my firm? The obvious answer, does it feel right? When you've identified the problem and know a CRM is the answer, does it make sense to customize a horizontal CRM solution or to get one made that's for your business? Let's take a quick look at what that means. A construction CRM needs to be project-based, not product-based. It needs to go beyond the typical thinking or functionality of just housing contact information or traditional marketing management or housing sales process. The CRM that works like you do will go further than that by housing not just the contact records for your clients, but also to break it out differently for your firm's personnel and project experience, resumes, project sheets, proposals, and all of the metrics that go around tracking the type of fees and margins and everything else that you're trying to do. Why should you have a CRM system? Now, a lot of our customers have had built very successful businesses without a CRM for years. And they'll say, I've done it this way for years. Why do I need this new CRM system? It's because if you think about it, what you're doing that worked in the past won't necessarily work in the future because technology is moving at such a fast pace. And because change is now constant, you need to embrace technology to help you move into the future and to basically give you a lever to improve the process that you've already been doing well, because all of your competitors are going to be doing it. There's a reason why any business would choose to use a CRM tool. Using a tool like this provides numerous benefits to both the businesses and customers, and that's why most businesses implement some form of CRM. Just ask yourself these questions. Does their data live in silos around departments and divisions? Does my staff consider Excel and Outlook a CRM? What happens when somebody leaves the firm? How do our marketers access project history for new proposals? Trying to get that on a spreadsheet and sticky notes is really a thing of the past. Today's connectivity, today's integrations, today's other sources of data really means that your CRM system can help take you into the future. How can I be assured that I have the right one? Make sure that you ask these questions. After you've seen the light, know that having a data consolidation, such as contact information, pipeline for potential to probable needs are measured, you need to be able to say, how do I know my business? How many like clients do you have? Can you ask all kinds of metrics about your client lists, other than kind of what's in your gut? I always like to tell people that I think my gut's right 100% of the time. I've found out that my gut's right about 85% of the time, but I use data to make sure that I don't make the mistake of thinking my gut's right all the time. I always check it against the data, and that's key. What does your implementation? So then ask your CRM firm, what does the implementation process look like? Do you understand our business? Do you outsource implementation or any other process? How would the marketing and proposal managers use your tool? And what other software does it integrate with relative to the construction industry? These are all key questions to ask. You need to have these kinds of integrations at a bare minimum. The system must at least have a one-way, if not a two-way integration with Vista. You need to be able to publish to both Word and InDesign. It needs to be able to integrate to Outlook. It needs to have a mobile component. It needs to be able to integrate with all sorts of lead sources. Your internal Windows and Linux-based systems, and then finally any other databases, perhaps scheduling or project management or other kind of asset tracking tools. All of these integrations are key for a successful CRM implementation. Okay, so you've bought into it, you love it, it makes sense. What's in it for me? And so we've broken this down. So really, in the webinar today, what's sort of interesting, we did some metrics. 22% of the people in the webinar today are in finance, 30% are project managers, 15% are business development, 18% are executive and principals, and 15% marketing. So that's a really interesting breakdown. So we're going to talk about what's in it for me for all these different roles. For finance teams, it gives you much, much better visibility than the traditional pre-construction process. You see your pipeline much further out in the future. Plus, you can get much better metrics so that you can measure it in a much more detailed way so you can get a much better confidence in the accuracy of the projections. And then you can generate much better metrics for your principals because you're collecting a lot more data. For project managers and doer sellers, as soon as these are the people closest to the street, they hear about jobs before anybody else. So the system needs to make it easy for them to share that information quickly and then to broadcast that out without having to go through a rigmarole and some crazy manual process or trade emails back and forth. Also, it allows you to identify relationships with other firms, people, what other firms people have worked at in the past, what other kind of experience they have, what experience people have, sharing tribal knowledge across the firm, and then best practices for sales. For finance and project management, a CRM system can also push data from opportunity records into the pre-construction or the project PM projects in Vista directly, so it can help save all sorts of manual steps of moving data back and forth. What's in it for me for business developers? It allows you to track your relationships from the very, very beginning and to share them and to see what other relationships people have in the past. It also allows you to track leads by quality and stage, really understand what are good jobs to go after, what are not. Easily create leads from either business cards or email. You have a simple interface that just works like a spreadsheet. It also works in Outlook. It works on your mobile device, and it cleans the data automatically so you can quickly use the system and it doesn't get in your way. It's critically important that you're able to track the information, get the information out, and get on to your job without having a complex software system get in the way that you have to sort of hack around. What's in it for me for executives and principals? Advanced analytics and data snapshots. So it's easy to build some simple analytics in a spreadsheet, but a tool like a vertically based CRM system can really build much more complex and detailed analytics that are real time that can span across your entire company. Also, it can help you with goal setting, really give you a much better view of revenue projection with much better accuracy. You can also coordinate all of your sales and marketing efforts across all the different parts of your company. The system also should be able to have sophisticated workflow to be able to push information, but also notify people by email or push notification when important events happen or information is needed or tasks have to be accomplished. And then finally, an integration to eliminate the silos between finance and project management, so the data seamlessly flows between all of the systems in your company. So you eliminate all of the drag and the friction that can happen when you have silos that are isolated amongst themselves. Marketing, you can get much better and targeted proposals because the data, you don't have to ask questions anymore. It's live data and it's available for you right away. It's easy to build your proposals. We feel that you can save an enormous amount of time. Both government forms, collecting information, pulling data from all the other systems, all of those email chains go away, all of the questions, the endless repeated questions to your project managers, they're going to start to love you again because you're not going to have to bug them less because the system will already have the information. What's the ROI? This is the big thing. So you've done all of this stuff. How much money is this going to make me? What's my return on the investment? So first, data insurance. All your data is up in the cloud and true enterprise class system. And it's distributed across the web in a very encrypted way, but you can get to it from any place, anytime. Time savings. By using a CRM system properly, you can get the right data to the right person at the right time. For instance, one ROI that we've seen is for building proposals. We can save up to 75% of the time it takes to build proposals, which is an enormous time saver. That can actually translate directly into increased hit rate on competitive opportunities because you can spend more time on the scope and what's important to the customer and craft that proposal. And we've seen that our customers have shared that data. In addition, in the sales process, all of the data can go back and forth between sales, BD, finance, executive management, all of that. So all of that friction goes away. So you can make decisions more quickly, even decide what's the right proposal and what's the right job to go after. And then for proposal automation, this system should turn into a one-stop shop, building all of the data and generating InDesign or Word documents in minutes instead of hours or days. Also, it should help you do much smarter pursuits. And what I mean by that is that you can build into the system the metrics and the way to measure it to understand what kind of projects you should go after. You should allow the system to start to calculate these things for you. It should start to actually learn about your business and then start to make recommendations and start to help you build these metrics. Should we pursue a job? Should we not pursue a job? You should build a defined process. Should you use all of this data, which then you'll pursue the right pursuits, finally. You'll go after the ones that you know you're going to make money on, and then you'll do better proposals so that you can get a higher percentage win. So that way you become much smarter about how you go after a job, not working harder. And that's really a gigantic competitive advantage. And this is where collecting all of this data starts to really pay off. And then you get KPIs, key performance indicators. You can start to track your RFP submittal volume and deadlines, all the go, no-go forms, what deadlines for submittals so you don't miss something, tracking project win, funding, all kinds of other probability. How well are we winning work with this particular architect, even though they're only the people that recommended the job, even though they're not the client or owner. Measuring all of those relationships and all of the metrics around them can really make a big difference so that you invest in the relationships that pay off. Other kinds of KPIs, leads and opportunity by stage, track your fee or margin or estimated margin or cost. We can track lead opportunity volume by organization, by business unit, by business developer, by project manager, all of these sorts of things. And then we can track your hit rates by quantity, by estimated income, by margin, by gross volume, by structure, by personnel, by type, by project type, even by geography. all kinds of different ways to start to really slice and dice the data. And this is where then all of those KPIs then give you the tool to improve your process, to focus your efforts, to really do a much better job. So what I would recommend is if anybody has any questions, please feel free to put them into the questions box on the webinar part. We'd be more than glad to answer any questions that come in. And then we'd be more than glad here at Cosential to answer any deeper questions that you might have about this. And here's some contact information for you.
Hey, Dan,
so Henry.
Oh,
okay.
yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, I was just going to say.
Henry's got some questions, yeah.
Yeah, as you were talking, some questions came in. So what data issues are there integrating with Vista and the other systems? Like, how, I assume that's sort of, how does that work? What?
Sure. So Vista is a wonderful system and is very configurable. So on every integration that we do with Vista, what we find is that we go through a mapping exercise. Now, we're very familiar with how the data structure lives in Vista, but in most firms, people have done a lot of work in customizing Vista to work specifically for their business. So it's important to go through a mapping exercise to make sure the data matches up. But it's not only just the field-to-field mapping, it's having an understanding of how you're going to use the information in the end. And that's really the key to a successful integration, is not just the technical side, but it's understanding how the data needs to be used.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Are you done, or I had two more?
Yeah, I'm done. Yep, I'm done.
What's involved in transitioning off of an existing CRM? So I assume, if you're already integrated or using somebody else, what's involved in switching?
So that's actually easier because at least your information is somewhat organized. What you do is you can extract the data either through an Excel spreadsheet or CSV, or go directly through an API to API integration. So what we've done in the past is we will help our customers extract the data from their CRM system, map it properly, and then import it into the new CRM system. And it's really a very straightforward process. And because your data at least has some structure, it's relatively pain-free.
Okay, this is Henry talking now, namely, this is me with a bit of a planted question, because I know you can't ask it, but I can ask it because I think it is an important thing. I get asked it by customers all the time, but in a nutshell, Dan, why Cosential and not Salesforce?
So it really comes down to, I'll tell this a story. We once were presenting Cosential to a company that had built Salesforce for their company and had spent 4 years and literally hundreds of thousands of dollars, many hundreds of thousands of dollars customizing it with consultants. And they still couldn't get it to really work well for their company. And then we did a demonstration, and the comment was, oh my gosh, I've spent 4 years trying to make Salesforce work like Cosential, and I still couldn't do it, and you've done it all. And here's the reason why. A horizontal platform just gives you a base to build on. But then you have to have deep, deep industry knowledge and experience and understanding the entire process to then build a layer on top of that. I've spent, and my company has spent 18 years doing nothing but thinking about how CRM and proposal automation needs to work for a construction company. So there's an enormous amount of deep learning and deep knowledge that we possess that we've built into our system that really can't exist anywhere. Plus, the core structure and architecture of a system like a Salesforce is really not made at all to support people who sell projects and people's experience on projects. You can hack it, but it really never works very well. And so I would say that the reason why we exist is because we've really, all we've been doing is thinking about this problem and built a tailored solution. So you're getting from us a best practice and 18 years worth of knowledge on how to do this, as opposed to starting from a blank slate and figuring it out on your own.
Right.
Plus, our customers tell us Cosential is easier to use than Salesforce.
It's a bit of a plant question, but it's because I hear from the customers exactly what you said, and they ask me about why not Salesforce. I realize using another brand name is a little sensitive, but we're talking here amongst ourselves, so to speak. Okay, one last question. In what about? Well, the question is simply says, should we start slow or have everyone in the system as soon as possible?
My answer, my cheeky,
yeah.
Right. My cheeky answer is yes to both. and what I mean by that is it really is a cultural thing. It depends upon how difficult it will be for your culture to accept a new process. But you can do things in a simple way where you roll out a piece at a time at a system like Cosential, but what you do is you roll it out to everybody at once. So you don't roll out the entire system, but you roll out the contact manager part, or you roll out just tracking opportunities, or you roll out the project history piece first and make that available to everyone. So you walk your way slowly into a system like Cosential, but you can do it with everybody all at once, a piece at a time.
Love it. Well, we're at time. It's 10:30. Dan, always a pleasure to talk to you. As you said, any questions or anything you want to direct to Cosential, the contact information's there. If you want to reach me, I'm simply Henry Ferguson at viewpoint.com, henry.ferguson at viewpoint.com. And really appreciate everybody taking the time to join us, and thank you very much.
Thank you, everybody. Thanks, Henry. Have a great day.
Bye now.